Hey, and welcome to the Pursuit of Healthiness podcast. I'm your host, Winanda van Delft. I'm a health and mindset coach, spaghetti and ice cream lover, travel junk, and a cat mom. I love conversations that are on a more raw and deeper level. And today I have the beautiful, incredibly sweet woman, Alexis. She struggled with her weight most of her life, and after being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, she knows she had to change. She lost some weight, got weight loss surgery, and is still on her journey to achieve her goal weight. In today's episode, we're going to talk about her weight loss journey, but also about fat shaming and what impact it has on us as individuals. So, welcome, Alexis, to the Pursuit of Healthiness. We already spoke beforehand. But yeah, we are here today to hear about your story because you have an interesting one. Well, it is interesting, and I think a lot of women who are listening could learn from it, and you can be their support because I'll let you tell everything what you have gone through and
Sure.
how your weight loss journey is going, right?
Yes. So I guess I'll just start from the beginning. I've been overweight a very long time, probably since elementary school. And it was just kind of a snowball effect. Like you gain a little bit each year. And when you start that young, by the time you hit adulthood, your weight's up there. So I had an unhealthy relationship with food. I am very much, even now, an emotional eater, and it could be a good way or a bad way. Like I've used food to celebrate successes, and I've used food to kind of help me when I'm sad, like eating a tub of ice cream and crying,
Yeah.
So
I totally get it. I've done the same. I've been there, done that.
yeah, so you know how it is. And going into adulthood, and I have tried so many diets. I tried restrictive diets, calorie counting. What was the one? Atkins. I had tried that so many times, like in middle school and like high school, and sometimes I would be successful, and I was just kind of stuck on this hamster wheel, just like going around in a circle. Like I'd lose some pounds, and then I would fall back into old habits, gain my weight back plus more. And I kept telling myself, I'll do it next year. Oh, this is going to be my New Year's resolution. And I'd put it off, and I would just keep gaining weight. And, I want to say December 20, like New Year's Eve of 2017, going into 2018. Of course, my New Year's resolution again was to lose weight. And when I stepped on the scale, I know we probably have a different like metric system, but it was at 371 pounds. So I'm not sure what that is in kilograms, but I'm sure it's a lot.
Let me look it up quickly because I think I was about the same. So how much?
371 pounds.
Pounds to kilograms. I'm just going to look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Because I think we're about the same, or we're about the same. Let me see. That's 168. Now I was a little bit less, but I get the picture. Yeah, I was 125 kilos. So yeah.
Yeah, I was 100 and so that was scary, and I'm sure for you, when you and I'm sorry to kind of bounce around, but that is actually a question that I get asked a lot is, at what point was it a wake-up call? Like when you step on the scale and you see that you're over 300 pounds. And in all reality, when I reflect back on my, my journey, I literally woke up every day in a state of denial, in a state that, I would get compliments like, oh, you're a pretty girl and stuff. So I would think, oh, well, I'm pretty. And, I felt like my confidence, it's not as high as it is now, but it was still up there. So I would literally wake up in denial every day. Like, hey, I look cute. My clothes look cute. I'm that girl.
Well, it's good that you felt that way, because some people are saying, especially the skinnier people are saying, if I would look like that, I would kill myself. Like, how can you let it happen? Like, how can you let it go so far? But like you said, every day you wake up in denial. And I don't think it's really denial. It's more like, you're overweight, but to really do something about it, like you said, you've tried it before and you failed, and you're like, what's the point? And yeah, I kind of look cute, so I totally get what you mean. And it goes
Yeah,
gradually. It's not like you wake up 300 pounds. It's
ex-
years of building up, and then years of trying to accept yourself. And then at some point, when it's, I don't know when that point was for you, but for me it was just like, now it's enough. And you have to have that
yeah,
feeling yourself from the inside. Like, you can have so many reasons of why you want to lose weight, because people say so, because society says so, because you want to look cute in a beautiful tight dress. But that's not going to really help you. You really have to feel it from within.
exactly. And also to kind of add to when I say, in denial, I guess for me personally, I would feel as though, and like you said, yeah, I know I'm overweight. I know, I see myself, I
We have
understand.
mirrors.
But it was more so like, I guess I didn't understand how much overweight I was because I would always avoid the scale. I was like I now I weigh myself almost every day, but at that time there would be months I would go without, unless I was going to a doctor's appointment, I'm not stepping on the scale. And because I know it, the emotions that come along with it, I was nervous to see the number on the scale, so I would just avoid it. It's
Yeah.
like, I know I'm overweight, but I wouldn't really confront how much overweight I was. And going into 2018, I was like, okay, I saw that number and I was like, whoa, I'm almost 400 pounds. Like, this is crazy. I've never been this high in my life. I didn't feel good. It was hard for me to climb upstairs. It was like little tasks, like tying my shoes, leaning to the side, like just
Yeah.
little things that were just very difficult. And at that point, it was almost like a breaking point, but I still didn't stick to it until I started experiencing extreme thirst. I was so thirsty. I could literally chug a gallon of water and still be thirsty. It was like
Wow.
this insatiable type of thing, right? And I was so scared and my hair started falling out and I was like, oh my gosh, something is wrong. And it really forced me to go to the doctor. And I'm like, I'm so thirsty. Like, no matter what I do, it's kind of terrifying. Like, I can drink and drink and drink. It just will not go away.
Yeah.
And my doctor was just basically like, might be type 2 diabetes. And sure enough, they did my blood work and I had type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
So it was terrifying. It was traumatizing. I had to wake up every day, prick my finger, check my blood sugar levels. I had to take pills. Like, fortunately, I didn't get to a point where I had to give myself insulin shots. But I had to take 2 different medications just to get my sugar levels under control. And I worked really hard to lose weight, but it wasn't coming off as fast as I wanted it to. And so my surgeon had suggested weight loss surgery because if you do undergo weight loss surgery, I guess the way he explains it, it changes the chemistry of your body. Like, some of your hormones get taken out. And long story short, I did it. I took his advice. I went through the process of getting insurance to cover it. I lost 50 pounds before surgery, and I decided to do the vertical sleeve gastrectomy because
Yeah.
there is a few different procedures to choose, and that was the less invasive one. And I knew a couple people who had been successful and had it, so I was comfortable getting that procedure. And I stopped taking my diabetes medication 2 days before surgery. And then I took my labs 2 weeks after surgery, and my levels were fine. I was
Awesome.
completely off medication. Like, my sugar, it was like, from the grace of God, I'm so grateful and thankful that it got caught early and I got the weight loss surgery. And it's a true blessing that I no longer have to do that, and my sugar levels are fine.
Yeah.
So that's really what, kind of drove me or led me to weight loss surgery, which kind of triggered a series of positive events in my life, because the weight was like a trigger of a lot of negative events.
Yeah. So what kind of negative events did you experience? Was it physically, mentally, or just from the outside world? People.
All
What? Yeah.
all of the above. Like, mentally, did I love myself? Yes. Did I looked at myself and I said, yes, I'm attractive in the face. And that is something that I'd be like, okay, I'm pretty, but I guess I was comfortable with my body, but I'm far more comfortable with it now, and just the physical limitations. I mean, I can think I look great all I want, but that's still not going to change the fact I'm out of breath when I'm walking up the stairs, or I'm taking a tour or a hike with a group of friends, and I'm, the last one, because I'm carrying so much excess weight, and I just didn't physically feel good, and my energy levels were low because I just wasn't properly nourishing my body. I was just eating, whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. Which I still love food now, so don't get me wrong, and I will still eat the same foods that I ate, as just in far less, portion.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry, my puppy, she's barking.
Okay.
So yeah, in the outside world too, and I will say one thing that was annoying, I guess, were the backhanded compliments, and I don't even know if they were necessarily meant to be backhanded, but like oh, you're pretty for a big girl.
Yes, yeah.
So it's like, well, thank you, I guess.
Yeah.
So there was that, and just the selection of clothes, and just not having as many options. And I like to consider myself fashionable when I'm not in my pajamas at home, quarantine. But it was very difficult to find clothes that were flattering and good quality stuff. So I mean, it's just, it didn't feel good. It would mess with, some days I could feel perfectly confident, but I will be transparent. Some days I didn't. Some days I would look at myself and I'm like, wow, I'm really overweight, and like, this is uncomfortable. Like, I can't even stand for, so some days I would be real with myself and I'd be like, this is a problem. And, it does play. And I think even people who are fit or at their goal weight, I'm sure they struggle with these days too. Like, nobody feels, at least I don't think, nobody just wakes up and feels 100% their absolute best all day, every day, with criticism.
No,
if they do,
not.
give me the magic, give me the secret. So, yeah, it was just quite a journey. I mean, did you experience, like, man, the backhanded compliments? I have to say that again, because that was just very, very common. Did you experience that?
Yeah, or just people that that say that you're fat but not tell it in your face, more in ways like, if you would go someplace, and then they would ask you, is it for you, like, should you be doing that, or something like that, or all those things. And even just eating is so, it was so, I wouldn't say difficult, but I felt judged, because when I would eat alone, then people give you the feeling like, oh, she's fat, she's eating, and she keeps continue eating, and blah blah. And if you're eating with a group, then they understand, okay, she's eating because she's hungry, because she needs to eat. But if you eat alone, or if you eat a pizza, I mean, you can eat a pizza or McDonald's. Well, I didn't really like McDonald's, but for example, if I would eat a pizza, I would feel so much judgment, like, you should be eating salad, or you should be. And I'm like, oh. And even these days, I'm like, I got all my blood tests done, and you have like, it's really unhealthy. What causes diseases is when you have a lot of fat around your organs. And I don't have that. Like from the inside, I'm all clean. I'm all healthy. Like my fat percentage around my organs is really low to it's really, really little. So from the inside, I'm really healthy. But it doesn't show on the outside. And when you experience that, you really see what is called fat phobic people. They are not really concerned about your health. They just don't like fat people or bigger people. And I'm like, it's fat people can be healthy too. And I mean, your body shape, your body type, it doesn't define your level of healthiness. Like I could be healthier than someone who's thin, but even mental health is really important. So everything, I wouldn't say I'm perfect in that way, but I'm working on it and I'm really good with it, and self-love and all those things, I'm really good at it. So I could be healthier and happier than someone who's thin. So yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. And you're so right. I mean, I even now on my journey, I still, I have lost over 150 pounds, but I still have a pretty good chunk to go. And I'll be at the gym and I'll get looks and I go hard. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but at this point, I go pretty hard at the gym. I think most people, if they see someone my size, they wouldn't expect how hard I go. So I do kind of get looks and they're just kind of like, I'm gonna go faster than this, than her, because she's chunky. I'm not gonna let her outdo me. So it's it's really interesting.
Yeah, but even that you say, you get the feeling that people want to be better themselves because they see you working hard. So they obviously everybody is comparing themselves with somebody else. But if you would be a thin girl or woman, then they probably don't have the same feeling. They probably don't have the same competitive feeling. It's because you are fat.
Exactly. I'm glad somebody said it.
Yeah.
Somebody said it and kept it real. I appreciate that. Yeah, because like these things, little things like that, I don't think we talk about enough. Like when people are on there, or and to kind of piggyback off of going to the gym and forming healthy habits while still being overweight. When I first started going to the gym, I felt so much judgment, like being like when I was still over 300 pounds and going in, and like, let's say I'm on the last treadmill and somebody who's fit is waiting for the treadmill. They're kind of looking at me like, why don't you just go home and let a real fit person, like use the treadmill. So I felt all type of like judgment. I was so paranoid. I'm like, everybody's watching me. They're looking at me and they're judging me. And maybe they weren't, so I know some people were, but in my mind, I was like completely in my head. And because you're so used to that type of judgment. It's like when you're overweight, every little move, like everything you do in public, like when you said, if you're eating by yourself and you're eating pizza, or even if you're out with your friends and you order a burger, I have had a friend saying, you don't want a salad? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But even if you are eating a salad, then they are still looking at you with judgment. And I'm like, like you cannot do everything right. And I think it's such a shame that when you are heavier and you go to the gym, the place to get in shape, that people are still judging you. Like there is no place that, I don't know if you experience the same, but there was no place where I didn't feel judgment from people around me. Like even at home, like I wasn't safe anywhere.
It is so, and that is something that really goes into the mental, and that's what I try to work on now, because I feel like I'm starting to get the physical under control, like the physical activity and the healthier eating habits, but the mental, it's there, and it's such a huge challenge. And you think of all these experiences, that you've gone through on your journey, and like the judgment, and like just the relationship with food and getting the emotions under control. That is such a huge but yet important part of any weight loss journey. And I'm still dealing with the after effects of that type of mental stuff that was going on at over 3 pounds. So it's a big deal, honestly.
And what is something that you wish you knew before you started this journey with the surgery and everything else?
Um, honestly, I will say I'm the type of person that does so much research that as far as starting the journey and I don't know. I don't think there's anything that I really wish I knew because I researched thoroughly. And anyone interested in getting weight loss surgery, I would suggest they do the same. The good, the bad, the ugly, comparing other, the different procedures.
Yeah.
I know when we spoke last time, I said a part of my journey that was a tough pill for me to swallow was the hair loss and now excess skin. However, going into this journey, watching people who have succeeded and have lost the amount of weight that I lost, they talked about it. They said, hey, you're probably going to lose hair. Hey, you're probably going to have loose skin. This is what mine looks like. And I really, really went into it with realistic expectations and knowing that the bad was going to come along with the good.
Yeah.
So I'm happy on that front. I will say something, even though I did hear people talking on their videos about people changing their attitudes towards you, still wasn't all the way ready for that. So I guess I guess I wish I would have taken that more serious because it is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Just the change of how people interact with you, how they talk to you. Even guys who weren't necessarily interested before now all of a sudden are interested, or friends, other overweight friends who you guys have tried to lose weight together, but now you're succeeding and they're not, and there's like this kind of weird competition, jealousy dynamic
Yeah.
type of thing. So I guess I wish I would have more prepared for that,
Yeah.
the interaction with people. But for my own individual like journey and the physical changes that I have gone through, some parts of it, yeah, it sucks to be candid, but I went into it like
Yeah.
expecting, like, hey, know this is gonna come, Alexis, so you better be ready, girl.
So how did you deal with the moments that were hard? Because what I've heard after a surgery like that, it's could be really painful from the inside, or with the difficulty eating, with the portion sizes. So how did you deal with that?
Honestly, I joined groups. I would listen to like a podcast like we're doing right now and listen to somebody's journey and their experience, follow their social media, see what they're eating. I try to be really good with posting on my Instagram like, "Hey, I'm 2 weeks post-op. This is what I'm eating and this is how much of it that I'm eating and this is what happened."
Yeah.
Cuz other people did that and it really helped me. So I'm trying to help others as well. Support groups on Facebook, following Instagram pages, watching YouTube videos. It, yeah, like it just really helped me kind of be prepared. I'm like, okay, don't overeat. And I would copy. I'll just be
Yeah.
honest. I would copy what people did. I would literally go on YouTube and say, what I eat 1 week post-op VSG.
Yeah.
And I'd
Okay.
go and I what they're eating. Um, but it was hard. I will say the nutritionist kind of prepares you. And okay, you know what? I'll just tell you how about this. I'll tell you kind of like what it was like.
Yeah.
So it was I had to do a liquid diet 2 weeks before surgery. I failed epically. Like on that.
Really?
I Yeah, I tried my hardest. I would do good like throughout the day. I would protein shakes and like sugar-free jello and stuff. And then at night, I would have part of a honey bun.
Yeah.
Or I would eat wherever my husband was eating. I would like take bites out of it. Or one night I just straight up had a burger. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I still was losing weight and I was being consistent. By the second week, I was really like, I really reeled it back in. That first week was hard. Second week, I gave myself a reality check, followed the diet. You go into surgery and it's when you wake up, you're so thirsty and you can't drink water. So anybody
Hey.
who's getting that surgery, be ready for that. Because if nobody had told me, which somebody did tell me because I watched it on YouTube, that probably would have been a trigger moment for me because I love to drink liquids. So you wake up, you're so thirsty because they stick tubes down your throat and stuff. So of course you're like parched. I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so thirsty, and you just feel sore. and I could not have any liquid for 24 hours
Oh my
after
God.
surgery. So the first day is pretty rough. I mean, you're sleeping most of the time, you're in and out. You're tired. You were under anesthesia. It's getting out of your system. Then you have to get up. You have to force yourself to walk, or you will get gas buildup and you will have gas pains. And I heard that it's very painful. So I walked
Yeah.
and I didn't experience any. I forced myself to walk like clockwork. Really just the first few days you're sore, you're uncomfortable. The first couple days, maybe you experience pain, but it's more of a sensation of just being sore and uncomfortable, really. And you can't get anything down. They tell you drink water, drink this, drink, get your liquids in. I had absolutely no appetite. Even the thought of water in my mouth by like the third day, I was like, I don't want anything in my mouth. I don't want to eat. I don't want to drink. But you have to be very careful because you'll get dehydrated and you'll end up in the hospital. So it's a huge adjustment. And to go from eating such a huge portion, because let me tell you, I could eat. I could eat so much, like a appetizer, whole appetizer, steak, potatoes. My portions were massive. So to go from that to only being able to eat like 1 ounce,
That's
and
drastic.
you're just, even now I still do it. I will go to make my plate like for Christmas dinner or something, and I'm like, what am I doing with these portions? I have to literally go and put some on my husband's plate. It's just like it messes with your mind to see these little portions. For me, it took about 6 months to kind of get the hang of it. And once your physical and your mental all align, it's just mad. Well, I won't say magic, but it's a beautiful relationship from there. Once you get over that hump and you're healed and you have come to terms with the fact that you better not be eating these big, large portions or you will throw up. It becomes great. It becomes, I think it's amazing. It makes your relationship with food, for me at least, just 180, just completely different. So it's a struggle though, because you want to eat. Even now, like I'm eating and something will taste so good and you'll want to take another bite. Don't do it. You'll puke. So at least
well, I have to say the portion sizes these days in restaurants and stuff like that are bigger than we should have anyway. So it's so easy to overeat. But you were talking about healthy relationship with food before and after. So how did you change your relationship with food? I managed to do the same, but I'm curious how you did it. What was your approach to that?
Yeah. So, and honestly, I told you how I had type 2 diabetes. So every day I just go into my day with thinking, this is life or death. And I know that's extreme and I know that's a dramatic way to think, but it's a realistic way to think because my type 2 diabetes, they're not gone. They're just dormant. So if I gain all that weight back, it's going to be waiting for me. So I will say part of it is forced. Part of it, the relationship, is I'm forcing myself. But once I started nourishing my body and having more like nutritious foods like greens and vegetables and fruits, I just felt like I feel so much better. I feel so good. So that helps too. Once it takes a while. It's almost like your body is detoxing all that junk food. It tastes good. It's delicious. The sugar and the carbs. I mean, I loved it. And your body wants it because you're probably addicted to it in some way. I know you can get addicted to sugar and stuff. So once you kind of detox a little bit and you realize how amazing you feel, that kind of helps me push forward too. And I just like to look at it as like eating a majority of food that fuels my body. Because I still eat pizza. I'm not going to lie. I still eat cake, cupcakes.
Same here.
Still eat all of those things. I just make sure that when I eat my meals, I eat like my meals are balanced a majority of the time. And I don't try anything super strict or extreme because I know for me that doesn't work. So exactly. I just have balanced meals and I used to go on Pinterest all the time and just find my favorite healthy meals or my favorite meals and then making a healthier version of it.
Yeah.
And that was like, I would say that was my number one transition because I'm still eating. It would help with those cravings. I would feel satisfied, but just swapping out a few ingredients and
It can do a lot.
yes, it can. And so I didn't feel like, because that's what would happen when I would do extreme diets. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I want a cupcake so bad. Ugh. And I'd eat and I'd not get it. And I'd still want it 3 days later. And then I'll eat 6 cupcakes because I didn't eat that one when I wanted to eat it.
You're eating like it's your last time. Like,
yes. And then I start this whole process for like, oh my gosh, well, I already ate 6 cupcakes. I might as well eat pizza and tacos and might as well start Monday, start next week, and it's like I've changed my mindset. I've shifted it. I'm like, hey, I like food. Let me just embrace it. I don't want to feel ashamed of liking food that's not good for me. And I don't want to
absolutely the same. I'm the same.
I don't want to get on here and say, oh, I'm so healthy. I turned my life around and all I eat is vegetables all day. No, like I will have a margarita and tacos and all that good stuff. I just make sure that I'll give you a prime example of this morning. I usually have egg whites and arugula and some turkey bacon. And sometimes on the weekend I will, Ariana, please stop. I'm so sorry. It's my puppy. She's don't even know what she's barking at. But I was gonna make like sometimes I'll have like pancakes or something. And this morning I went to go prepare my eggs and I'm like, oh, it's the weekend. I'm gonna have pancakes. Duh. And then I actually sat and had a conversation with myself. I'm like, you know what? I don't even really feel like eating pancakes. So why don't I just eat my eggs? And then even if I feel like eating pancakes on Wednesday, I'm gonna eat the pancakes Wednesday. Yeah. So I'm managing my cravings. They're still there. They still pop up. I'm just being fair with myself. I guess that's the best way to say it. I'm being fair.
Yeah, I think that's, like you said, the best way to talk to yourself as well. Like, are you really hungry? Are you really craving this? Or is it just because it's Sunday and you usually had the pancakes? Or is it because you see it on TV? Or do you see someone else eating that? Is it the reason why you're craving it at that point? So yeah, but also when you crave a certain food, it's your body showing you're lacking a certain vitamin or mineral. So it's also good to understand how your body works and what makes you feel full and what makes you happy, because food is there to be enjoyed. It's to nourish your body. Like if you eat foods that nourish your body, most of the time it will be fine. But we can have something nice from time to time. Like I do the same. Like I've studied nutrition and I'm a health and mindset coach, but I still eat pizzas and hamburgers. I actually have a pizza tonight. So, I'm just enjoying life and foods, and it shouldn't be so restricted. And it's the reason why with diets you are restricted, because they're telling you cannot have this and you have to eat that and you have to all those restrictions. And that's the reason why you're craving something. It's like a kid that is not even playing with a toy and you want to throw it away, or you give it to another kid and then they're like, no, it's mine, and then they become obsessed with that toy and you're like, but you haven't played with it for years. Exactly. And it's just the idea in your mind that you cannot have it while you're craving it.
Exactly. And and I wanted to tell anyone who's listening to this and who feels overwhelmed, because that can be, and I will, and that's something that I didn't mention with the mental of being over 300 pounds, the feeling of being overwhelmed. When you lose 5 pounds, like you feel good that you lost 5 pounds, but it's so easy to get discouraged when you say, well, I still have 200 more to go. That's so many more pounds, or still have 100, you know what I mean? 150 pounds to go. It can be overwhelming and you get discouraged, and then it's easier to just kind of give up, So I just want to say to anybody who is starting their journey, if you have a rough day, if you have a cupcake, if you were doing good and you had egg whites for breakfast and salad for lunch, and then you had 7 tacos for dinner, don't wait until Monday. Don't put it off. Just, you had your meal, you enjoyed it, and just leave it there. That's something that sounds so simple, but took me a while to
Yeah.
really embrace and take and apply it to my life. Like if it's Wednesday and I have a cheeseburger when I was supposed to have salmon and rice, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to beat myself up. I'm not going to get in my head about it. I'm going to be like, wow, that was a great meal. I enjoyed it. Back to business Thursday.
Exactly. Yeah. The
Just
guilt
take it.
around food is something that you have to work on. Like you said, because you're feeling guilty, you feel like, okay, screw it, I stop Monday. But enjoy the food in that moment. And I mean, really enjoy it. Like not eat and feel guilty at the same time. No, just enjoy it. You're eating it anyway, so you might as well enjoy it. Leave the guilt alone. Just go back at it the next day or the next meal. I don't know if you had an unhealthy meal for breakfast or something.
I like that too. The next meal, that's also important because there's been times where I pack a lunch to work and my coworkers are like, hey, we're going to order Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, oh, of course I want those waffle fries. Sign me up, And so then I make sure, okay, I had my Chick-fil-A. It was good. Now let me have this, healthy dinner. So I think not beating yourself up as much and just picking up where you left off versus postponing your progress.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
that is key. And also to kind of piggyback off of us talking about the gym and being overwhelmed. I wanted to share this with you and I was actually so excited to share this with you. I almost forgot. I wanted to make a goal for myself. Oh, which by the way, you know what? I'm sorry. I keep bouncing all over the place. I didn't even give my stats. So I'll do that first. I did have my VSG surgery August 19th, 2019. I did it right outside of Chicago in Evanston. So I went into surgery at, I believe, 314 pounds at that point because I had lost a pretty good chunk from the liquid diet. You'd be surprised it drops off when you're only living on protein shakes and chicken broth. But my highest weight was 371. I worked really hard to kind of get as much as I could off during the insurance approval process, which was 6 months. And then I went into surgery at 314. And the last time I weighed myself, which was this morning, I'm still in the 200s. I was at 214 pounds.
Oh, wow. But you're still doing really, really well.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm chugging along. I keep playing with the same few pounds, but I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to get discouraged. So that's kind of my stats. And as far as like my physical activity, right. And when we're talking about the gym, I was so intimidated. When you're first out of surgery, you can't do any heavy lifting or super heavy cardio, intense cardio. So when I got cleared to just walk, I'm not even kidding. I would go in, put the treadmill on an incline and walk for like 15 minutes and leave.
Yeah. Well, if that helps.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I went into this. I'm like, you know what? I'm taking baby steps. I've learned my lesson of going too hard, too fast, burning myself out, hurting myself, getting discouraged. Like, no, I'm making this a part of my life. And that was the decision I made. I said, this journey is not going to be a diet. I'm not going to be living on protein shakes forever. I'm going to find a balance. But
Amazing.
I went in there, I walked for 15 minutes. I would leave. Then I was like, okay, the next week, I'm going to walk for 20 minutes. And I slowly walked. People were looking at me like, you could have just walked on the sidewalk at this point, But I was like, and I would just take these little the tiniest baby steps. And I went in there saying, as long as I'm moving, just move. That's all I was saying. And I don't want people to go to the gym, and then feel discouraged. You don't even have to go to the gym, honestly.
No, you can do it from home.
Yeah, walk around your block, and just, even now when I take a jog, I'm so boring. I literally jog around the same one block a whole bunch of times. I know there's apps that can take you on a guided jog and stuff, but no, I block. So, that's something I wanted to tell you is I made a goal for myself is, okay, so for my 1-year surgery anniversary, I want to run a 5K. I want to run a 5K. Good goal. So I decided that last February. I was like, okay, so last February, that gave me 7 months to prepare to run a 5K nonstop.
Oh my God.
So I was like, okay, I can do this, right? So I had a runner at work. He's like super into running. He like went to like an Olympic tryout. Like this guy is a runner. So
Oh my God.
said, yeah, I was like, hey, I can't run at all. Can you maybe help me come up with a plan? And he did. He was so kind. And the plan, it was literally like, run 30 seconds, walk 3 minutes, run 30 seconds, like baby steps. I could not even run 5 minutes straight without I felt like I was going to pass out. I was like, oh my God, this is too much. I'm not a runner.
Yeah.
So about like maybe a month ago, I'll have to check my Instagram. I posted it. Something came over me. Well, I followed his plan. COVID hit. So I was like,
Shit.
it really motivated me because everything was shut down. I'm like, hey, at least I still have this running plan that I can follow and do outside. So I stuck to it. I did it. I ran a 5K. And then I was like, well, now what? I'm just going to keep pushing myself. So then I started doing 4 miles, and I'm sorry, don't know what that is in kilometers.
I don't know.
I started doing 4 miles. I would do it like 3 days a week. And then I was like, a few weeks ago, I said, you know what? This is really crazy, but I have a lot of energy, even though I just hit 4 miles. Why don't I just keep running until I pass out or something? I feel like, oh, I'm so tired because I have nothing to do today. So let's test it.
Yeah.
And I literally ran 8 miles.
Oh my God.
I can't even believe that I did it.
Wow.
And I ran 1 hour and 35 minutes nonstop straight.
I would never do that. I hate running. Like my boobs are and my back are starting to hurt, and 8 miles is almost 13 kilometers. Oh my God.
Yeah. And I mean, of course my time wasn't the best, but the fact that I was at a jogging pace the entire time, the next day my body was like, what did you do to me? And it was so sore. And I was like, oh my gosh. But like now I've become addicted to hitting new levels, and that's part of the journey too. And I want to tell people, right? Like I couldn't even run 5 minutes straight. I couldn't even run like 3 minutes straight, to be honest. When I had to run those intervals, doing 30 seconds, I couldn't wait for those 30 seconds to be over. And less than a year later, by just being consistent, even some days I was like, you know what? I'm not running 4 miles. I'm going to do 1 mile. And that's it. But at least I did it.
At least you did it. Exactly.
So being consistent, like I went from not even running 5 minutes to 8 miles straight in less than a year.
God,
that's just like the magic of being consistent, right? Like you don't have to be perfect 100% of the time. And if you fall off a little bit, just don't undo your hard work. Literally, that is my biggest takeaway of this journey is consistency and loving myself and looking back at my progress and saying, you know what? Hey, today was a rough day, but look how far I've come. And I hope that people will feel the same. Like, just do it. Just move. Even if you're walking 20 minutes, who cares? Do it. Even if it's as slow as a snail, like for now, just do it. Move.
Show up for yourself.
Exactly. And I would say I'm so excited because I guess I never really said it out loud that was my takeaway. So now I'm having an aha moment. So that's also, and I do want to say, for the friends or the change of relationship, it sucks. It feels like, you want people to be supportive because you're probably supportive and you're happy for people. So you want them to be happy for you. And if somebody becomes a hater, then that's just what they are. And don't let that discourage you or get you down or feel any type of way. Just push harder and give them, and they'll be even more mad. That's their problem.
That's true. Yeah. It's not your problem. It's theirs. I mean, it's making them, I don't know if it's jealousy or not, but yeah, often when people hate, you are highlighting something that they are insecure about. That's what I've noticed. So yeah, let them be. Just give more love.
But honestly, I will say that that's probably one of the top 3 things that was tough for me. I did have a close, what I consider to be a close friend, just it went from excitement, because at one point I was almost 100 pounds heavier than her, and it went from, I felt like genuine excitement to, as I started getting closer to her weight, to kind of like highlighting an insecurity, as you said.
Yeah.
Then once I kind of surpassed her weight, things changed, attitudes changed, comments, that don't really add up, were made. And I'll give you an example, right? Like, she would ask me how much I weigh every phone call, which I was perfectly fine sharing. I don't care. I will share it.
Yeah.
And then there was, like, I think a moment that I can remember is she said, "Oh, well, wait until I start my low carb diet, girl. I'm about to pass you up and you're going to be playing catch up to me." And I was like, okay.
Okay. And what else?
I was like, so then we're both going to be winning, I guess. I don't know, but just don't let that get you down. And, old me, if I didn't have a good emotional grasp on my relationship with food, it probably would have hurt my feelings, and I probably would have been sad, and I probably would have went and eaten some Snickers and ordered a pizza and just been in my feelings and give them what they want, undoing my hard work, So I just chopped it up to let the haters hate and kept it moving.
Amazing. I love your attitude. I love how you look at things and take on things. It's good because it is difficult, and mentally, physically, especially. Uh, I think mentally, because you are used to being overweight and all the judgment, and then once you're getting smaller, people start to treat you differently. Well, basically, you're still the same person. It's just that the outside has changed.
Exactly. And I'm so glad you brought that up. Because we're talking about like getting the journey started and working on your relationship with food and moving and the physical activity. And these are all things that are gonna help those pounds fall off. And once those pounds fall off, and if you're someone like me who's lost so much weight and you see the number going down, but your body isn't looking how you hoped it would, that is another mental game that you got to learn how to play.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of, and I just wanted to kind of highlight that because that's what I'm currently dealing with. And I know that I mentioned it to you before, but it's like a battle scar,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mentally prepared myself going into this about loose skin, and it's here. So it's like on one end, it's a beautiful thing to watch the scale go down, and you block the haters out, and you're good, you're eating good, you're doing your physical activity, and you're just like, yeah, I'm crushing it, I'm hitting these new goals. And then you're like, what is this? So it will mess with your head. It messes with my head some days. So I just want people who are listening who have that much weight to lose and who would maybe potentially have loose skin. And I've actually talked to a couple of women who just the thought of them having loose skin has been such a huge factor in preventing them from getting weight loss surgery.
Oh, really?
Fear it. Yes. Because they're fearing the loose skin, or they think that the weight's going to come off so fast that's why the loose skin is caused, which that can be the case. But as my surgeon told me, that's not always the case. If your skin has just been stretched out for so long, whether you lose the weight super fast or you lose it at a slow pace, like, you're likely going to have some excess skin. If you have, over 100, your skin has been stretched out for years, and genetics play a role too. So I don't want that to prevent people from either A, losing a bunch of weight, or B, getting weight loss surgery. Does it suck? Absolutely it does. But would I rather have loose skin that is only temporary because it will get chopped off? Would I rather have that than type 2 diabetes and checking my blood sugar and taking pills and being thirsty and losing my hair any day?
Yeah, I can imagine. It's,
you know?
I mean, like you said, loose skin, you can go to, and maybe, it costs money, obviously, but I would say that's a worry for later. Like, be sure, because at that point, it is about health, I would say. When you're physically and mentally start to see the signs, then it is about health. And then it's worth working for it.
Yes, exactly. And I want to put a full disclaimer because I know you've had your amazing weight loss journey. We have a little bit of differences, because I went the weight loss surgery route.
Yeah.
And so I also want to tell people who either A, are looking at getting weight loss surgery, or view weight loss surgery a certain way. I want to address that. I know some people who don't do proper research. They just they're, hey, my insurance going to approve it. I'm gonna, they're just going into it thinking it's a magic pill, right? Or that
Yeah.
it's going to work like magic. Like, hey, I'm about to get this surgery, and like that's it. Like, I'm gonna eat whatever I want because I can only eat this much, and it's gonna be amazing. My life's perfect. But like, no, your stomach can stretch back out. You can
Yeah.
gain all of your weight back. And I really, really want to say that you have to make those healthy changes. And for people who who don't want to get the weight loss surgery or have views, I've also heard comments of people saying it's the easy way out. You still
That's how I thought in the beginning. Yes, before I did my own research. I mean, in a way, you shouldn't talk about stuff that you don't know anything about. So I did my research.
but I can't understand, why it could be perceived as an easy way out. Because yes, in all fairness, it is a boost to lose weight.
Yeah.
It's truly is a boost. It's an extra tool that you have to aid in weight loss that somebody who didn't get the surgery and does not have access to. So I will say, in the beginning, is it easier? Yes, absolutely, because your stomach is so restricted. I think when I finally moved to solid foods, because I still weigh my food. I actually kind of like weighing my food. I think the first meal I had was 1.8 ounces, which I'm sorry, the metric system again, but let's say it was like one egg, a little chunk of avocado, a little tiny like dab of beans. I could maybe eat half of one egg. And I was so full, I felt like I had Thanksgiving dinner from
Really?
half of one fried egg. That's how full you feel. Like your stomach you're still swollen. You can eat just the smallest portions and you really don't feel hunger or have an appetite. So of course weight is going to fall off quicker than somebody who doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So I will say there is an advantage in the beginning, However, once that little honeymoon phase wears off, it's fair game.
True. It's all about the mental and the consistency that you put into it.
Yeah.
But you said before your weight loss surgery, you had to go on a liquid diet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to get the wrong idea that they need to take shakes and stuff like that to lose weight, because for you it was because of the surgery, right? It's not the solution to losing weight.
Yeah, so the surgeon and this is like that for certain procedures, not just weight loss surgery. So whenever they're doing surgery like around your stomach or certain organs, from my understanding, my surgeon said you go on the liquid diet because it helps shrink your liver. I'm not in the medical field. I don't know how being on a liquid diet translates to your liver being smaller. Have no clue, have no idea. But from my understanding, for whatever reason, it makes your liver smaller. So then it's easier for them to perform the type of procedure because the organs aren't taking as much space, so they can really kind of get in there and do what they need to do. And I know different procedures, not even necessarily weight loss procedures, the surgeons will require you to be fasted or to be on a liquid diet for so long just so that the actual procedure itself can be performed as
Yeah.
safely as
Yeah, I've heard that sometimes with certain types of surgeries, when you have a full stomach, then it could be that that it will kind of, I wouldn't say explode, but when they do the surgery, like it's everywhere.
yeah.
So that's not nice for them.
Yeah. So I mean, so I'm glad that you said that because
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest anybody being on like a permanent, liquid or something like that, because I don't know, you're pretty sure you need more nutrition, but
Yeah. I just wanted to have that cleared out. Is
yeah.
there anything else that you would like to share with us when it comes to your surgery or weight loss or mental health or anything?
Yeah. I want to say your mental health comes first and everything else follows, because when your mindset is good, or like even when I went into this journey, I did a lot of soul searching. I no matter what your religion is, but for me, I prayed to God. I'm a Christian, and I prayed. I did soul searching. I cleared my head. I said, Alexis, you don't want type 2 diabetes. And I think that just even having that foundation of really mentally preparing for this journey has helped me stay on it. And let's see, August, almost a year and a half out. And I'm still as hungry as ever to get to my goal weight. And I'm so glad that I worked on my mental, because there were people who had more weight to lose than I did and had surgery after I did and have lost more than I have.
Yeah.
It's just their body, and it can be discouraging and it can be frustrating, but because I got my mental in check, that's okay. I can clap for them and their successes while still working towards mine, even if it takes a longer time. So please, please, please work on your mental, and don't be afraid to check yourself, because we have this self bias where we like to think we're the perfect person and we're great and we have the best intentions. And sometimes we need to look in the mirror and we need to be called out. And maybe when we're called out and we look at it in a realistic way, we do need to improve.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of self-improvement and facing your demons, because that's how you're going to grow. So get your mental in order, stay consistent. When you fall off, get right back on and leave it at that. And I think you're going to be great. I think you'll be successful being consistent and getting your mental in check. And drink your water.
Yes, water, very important. It's a boring topic, water, but we need it.
Yes, we do
Say
need it.
anything about it what you want, but we need it.
Yes. And and one last thing. Sorry, I feel like somebody's like, doctor, like, hey, and you do this. But please, if you are interested in getting weight loss surgery, whether it's for medical issues or whether you feel overwhelmed and you need a little boost, help to kind of get the ball rolling, please, please, please do your research. Thoroughly research, look at the good, look at the bad, listen to people's experiences, the things that can go right, the things that can go wrong, and compare the different procedures, because sometimes people don't completely research and they're not satisfied with the procedure they chose. They just did it because a friend did it. It might be different for you. So please do your research and look at the whole picture and set realistic expectations when going into this journey, because if you don't, it's going to be even harder to keep your mental in order.
Yeah, true. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. How can people reach you if they, see you as an inspiration or want to get inspired by you? How can people reach you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty present on social media. I have an Instagram dedicated to weight loss. It's Lexi, LEXI_VSG. So you can follow me there. You can shoot me an email. It's my first and last name. I'm not sure if you're gonna post my first and last name, but it's Alexis, ALEXIS, Lerma, LERMA. It's a 90 at gmail.com. So I'm so sorry it's long, but Alexis Lerma at gmail.com. Yeah, feel free to shoot me an email or reach out to me on Instagram, slide into my DM. It's fine. I'll respond.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for this conversation and for, sharing your story and giving a little bit more light into how it is to be overweight and your whole journey and everything else. If you're struggling with your weight and would love to get more support and guidance to the right path of changing your mindset, I am here for you. Go to my website, www.pursuitofhealthiness.com, to schedule a free call with me, or if you're ready to go hard, join my ultimate lifestyle program, and together we're going to create the healthiest and happiest version of you.